whole lot of lava, from Bologna to the Jungle Circuit Reverse to the Serpentine 8 Loop. 20,000 riders representing 90 nations from all around the world. Some of the biggest nations, the United Kingdom and the USA. But I'm Paul Kay in the RSA, and in the United Kingdom and the UK, Hannah Walker.
Thanks, Paul. Well, this is going to be some exciting racing. 20,000 people took part in at least one stage. 5,000 have done all four stages, and tonight we'll see 800 riders competing against some of the best riders in the world for the Virtual Absa Cape Epic. When we look at the course, we are on Watopia Serpentine 8, a new course to Zwift, which came out in December 2020. The riders will take on 26.7 kilometers of racing with 239 meters of elevation. The first 7.3 kilometers of the lead-in are downhill on that tarmac section, and then we'll be onto the dirt, wood, and onto the hard section of mountain bike roads. Our riders will go over the bridge road, and we'll see the riders climb up. As you can see, the route will go through the jungle start. The circuit is on clockwise, and they'll go over the rope bridge. They'll descend and turn right onto the Mayan road bridge and climb out.
Some of the pros you want to be watching out for tonight. Let's look at the women. Well, Ashley Pasio, she started out wanting to be a triathlete, but look at her. And a Commonwealth bronze medalist, the esports world champ, Laura Stigger. Well, she is a world champ, a junior world champ in both mountain bike and road. And Casey Armstrong says if it's smooth, it's fast. Catherine Colin is a former national champion and the Zwift Academy finalist from Denmark. Young Caroline Bohr has been riding bikes since she could walk. And Elizabeth Bruntow, no stranger to the Absa Cape Epic, as well as Sandra Walter, who's from Canada. She's a four-time Canada Series champ. And Sarah Hill, who's won almost everything in South Africa.
We will take a look at the ones to watch in the men's race coming up.
Well, there's no coffee riding there. And amongst those first 10, all of them have won an Absa Cape Epic. 11 wins between them, 5 for Susie, 5 for Plato. Happy birthday, Carl. And Christian Heineck with 1 win there as well. Then moving along, you've got the likes of Jacques Janssen van Rensburg, Daniel Gain, and Gerhard Kerschbaumer. A roadie with a couple of mountain bike pros, and Daniel with the podium in the Absa Cape Epic in 2017. Matt Beers hails from Neisner. That's where the Absa Cape Epic started way back in the day in 2004 with your Grand Tour riders Jan and Kilian Frankini, South Africa and Switzerland. But let's just talk about some of the differences when you're racing virtually, Hannah. You know, you've got the power-ups, you've got the ability to draft, which is not necessarily that easy on a very, very technical mountain bike course. We're looking at Ashley Pasio at the moment. She's embraced riding indoors. She's embraced the virtual world as we see the Mayan ruins behind her. She climbs and climbs all solo. But let's hear from this South African heroine herself about racing in the virtual world.
Hi, I'm Ashley Pasio. I'm the South African champion on the road, and I'm also currently the esports world champion. I wasn't always a big fan of indoor training, but during the COVID pandemic, I became a Zwift convert, and I truly believe that it complements my training, and it's also a great platform for racing. To be able to race competitively on Zwift, you definitely need to train on Zwift. You can't just jump on Zwift and expect to perform because it really is tough racing. And I think it's all about mentality. You need to be willing to suffer when you get on the start line. And I think this compares very well to the Absa Cape Epic because it's a grueling race and you're really going to hit some dark places. So I think there's great comparisons. I'm really excited to see the Absa Cape Epic is going virtual. I think it's a great merge between the real world and the virtual world, especially when it's quite difficult for real life racing to take place. It's also amazing to see what the Absa Cape Epic are doing for women's cycling with their own start batch and equal race distance and prize money. This is very similar to what Zwift has done for women's cycling during and after the COVID pandemic in terms of giving us equality and pushing the sport forward. I hope to be able to be on the start line of the Absa Cape Epic in the real world one day, and I'm also really excited to be part of the Virtual Absa Cape Epic.
We're looking at our men's race, and you got the likes of Stibian Goethals Casey South, the Swiss rider in that bunch. It's still a very, very big bunch. Nothing much in it at the moment. Jaco Janse van Rensburg mixing it up with the guys at the moment. So it is nothing in it. Still very, very tight. At least we get to watch them at the moment. Hannah, you saw that we struggled a bit early on. That's just so many people wanting to watch the Virtual Absa Cape Epic. But this kind of racing for the riders at home during the COVID pandemic over the last sort of 13, 14, 15 months, for riders in the Northern Hemisphere over their winter who can't get out, being able to ride on a virtual platform is fantastic. But what makes that happen is fantastic connectivity. And for the Absa Cape Epic, having a brilliant connectivity partner is also so important, because the Absa Cape Epic goes into what's some of the most beautiful yet inaccessible parts of the Western Cape. And there's not always a little plug you can stick your Cat 6 cable in. And then you need people like the guys from Dimension Data. The guys and girls at Dimension Data are phenomenal, where they create connectivity for us anywhere across the Western Cape, so that we can ensure that the Absa Cape Epic is always the world's most viewed and televised mountain bike race. Let's hear from Graeme Parker.
Tech has always been a fundamental part of the untamed Absa Cape Epic, and we are proud to be a partner of the Epic. In the real world, we assisted broadcast the participants out in the sticks. We enabled digital race villages, and we brought real-time data to media participants and the public alike. In the virtual world on the Zwift platform, similarly, we ensured connectivity, collaboration, and real-time data. We are really excited you'll get to experience our technology in action.
Lovely to see a little insert there of Sarah Hill. I mean, this young lady just loves the long, hard, tough stage races. The Mid-Bowl 100-miler first there. Joburg Classic taking the win there as well. Sabi Experience, the Cape Pioneer, Transbavians, Joburg to Sea in 2019, winning all those races, smashing close to 300 watts, and you saw she actually jumped out of the saddle there to keep that power down, because whatever you do, you don't want to lose the bunch, as I understand it, because if you stop, if you look over your shoulder, if you lazily grab for a bottle, you could very well lose this tight little bunch that they're going at the moment. But Sarah Hill riding like a champion, and I know that most of South Africa on the edge of their seats at the moment as we look at Swiss hero, 5-time Absa Cape Epic champion, Olympian, Christoph Sauser, long-time friend of South Africa, also started the Songerode Info charity. He's coffee at the moment with the Horizonte coffee that he's got going, and he's smashing close to 350 watts at the moment, so a little bit more than 5 watts per kilogram. And he's trying to catch up to me with the gray hair. He's into his 40s already, but doing a lovely job here with the bunch. Maria Sanch, Becking, Martin Fry, and Daniel Giesmeyer. These are the guys who are kind of mixing it up, and the rest of them, I would imagine, Hannah, are kind of saving themselves for a little bit later in the stage.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone will be looking to Sauser, such a champion and legend of the Absa Cape Epic. But Sauser just keeping himself close on the wheel of the rider in front of him, making use of that draft. But they're starting to pick riders off as well. So that's great for them. That's great for their morale. It's great that they know they're passing some of the riders. It looks like a couple of these riders are from the community. But Sauser just losing the wheel there. And as you were just saying, Paul, that once you start to lose the wheel in Zwift, it's extremely hard to close that gap. It's not like in the real world where you can immediately close the gap or come back. The draft effect is very, very strong within the virtual world of Zwift.
But the Absa Cape Epic also works very, very hard with its partners to develop mountain bike racing in Southern Africa and on the African continent. We've got quite a few of those riders who have developed through the ranks in the partnership that the Absa Cape Epic has with Exaro. And very soon we hope to showcase some of those Exaro riders. I mean, it's one of the few, I think the only mountain bike race on the planet with a development category that the riders race for that Exaro jersey. I know we've got a lot of those Exaro riders who are racing with us here today at the Virtual Absa Cape Epic. But why don't we see all the work that the Absa Cape Epic does with its development partner, Exaro.
Introduced in 2012 when the first Exaro development riders joined the race, this race within a race can change a rider's life forever. And in recent years, the number of competitors for this jersey has mushroomed. In 2019, the winning team of Tsepo Tlo and Lucky Mlangeni placed a very respectable 52nd in the men's category, a true success story of the Exaro Development Academy.
Well, you see what the Absa Cape Epic did, Hannah, with women's racing. Equal prize money. They race exactly the same course. They race the same distances. They get their own start, have their own race, and likewise helping develop women's racing and mountain biking. And we've seen with the caliber of racing we have at the Absa Cape Epic in the UCI women's category, and likewise in our development category partnered by Exaro. Always great to see how events take it upon themselves to go out there and accelerate development of the sport by creating heroes, by creating men's heroes, women's heroes, and development heroes. This is how we inspire the next generation of riders to come through. I'm sure you had your fair share of riders that you followed who inspired you to your professional cycling career.
Yeah, certainly did. And it's great, isn't it, that you can have these riders on a platform, both now in the Absa Cape Epic in real life, but also now virtually, that we can show, and a lot of people watching from home can be inspired by the racing we're watching right now, to see the riders from all across the world competing together from all different walks of life. So it really is a fantastic platform. As you say, the Absa Cape Epic are doing everything with the prize money, the starts and everything is equal for the women as it is for the men. And likewise on Zwift, the riders today competing across the same course, the same distance. And it really is, it's wonderful to see.
This is not just like riding on the road and just turning the pedals, is it? It really is almost like riding off-road.
It certainly is. Well, the first obvious difference and change is the technicality of the race. Of course, in the real world for the Absa Cape Epic, you have to deal with the terrain, the technical sections, the rocky sections. However, on Zwift, you're having to deal with the fact you need to keep your ventilation, keep your core body temperature as cool as possible. Make sure you're hydrated, because as we know, when you're riding indoors, you sweat an awful lot.
But you know that all of these community riders here, so the riders that did all 4 stages, they're all going to a draw for something incredible. And I reckon, Hannah, you wouldn't mind getting your hands on this machine as well. And you'd want it in the real world, not just the virtual world, because a lot of the riders are riding these custom painted bikes in the virtual world here in our virtual Absa Cape Epic on Zwift. But look at this machine, the custom painted Scott Spark RC with AXS. This is an absolute beauty. It's got that hint of Africa in it, with the sort of the zebra stripes, with sort of a cheetah type color to it, with that yellow, black and red. Stunning indeed. 200,000 South African rands, which is about 14,000 US dollars, about 10,000 pounds. How about getting your hands on that, Hannah?
Well, I would certainly love a bike like that. It really is stunning, and cool that the riders can have it in the virtual world, but even better for one lucky winner who's completed all 4 stages, and they will get to have their hands on that bike in real life. I mean, what a stunning paint job. Cool. And hopefully maybe one day they can take it to the Absa Cape Epic coming up.
Well, it's technical in the real world. It's technical in the virtual world as well. Let's check out our friends from Land Rover.
The Land Rover technical terrain is synonymous with pushing the Absa Cape Epic riders to their limits. With the evolution of the playing field, join me, Ollie Munich, in the virtual Absa Cape Epic on Zwift. Let's rock and roll. The virtual Land Rover technical terrain is not to be underestimated. With the slippery planks, you don't want to lose traction on the rear wheel. You might spin out and be forced to dismount. Never a good thing in the Absa Cape Epic. A trailside mechanical pales in comparison to the anguish and frustration of a digital puncture. Bombing a tire, it's like trying to find bandwidth when you just don't have any. I'm looking for LTE, but all I got is edge. That's a wrap. I'm tapping out.
We're into the final couple hundred meters of the Virtual Absa Cape Epic here on Zwift, and our pro men are pushing super hard. The watts are being dropped big time. And who will it be over the line? It's still a very, very big bunch, but it's starting to thin out slightly at the front there, Hannah.
Yeah, as we go over that wooden bridge out of the tunnels here, we see a few of the power-ups being dropped, and some of them being dropped too early. But as the sprint to the line with just over 100 meters to go, we see the big sprint to the finish, and close final on there. We'll get confirmation of who took the victory, backing up towards the front for the Netherlands.
Well, I tell you what, Hannah, I'm going to give you a chance now to speak to the men's winner of the Virtual Absa Cape Epic, representing the Netherlands. Hello to Hans Becking, and a huge congratulations to you. Hannah, all yours.
Hi, Hans, congratulations. How are you feeling? You're looking awfully fresh.
Looks can be deceiving, huh? Well, I'm completely wet from the sweat, certainly. And the lungs are burning like hell at the moment.
Well, it was a close finish, wasn't it, on the line? There's quite a lot of riders going to the finish. Was the bunch bigger than you expected it to be?
I don't really have so much experience with Zwift races, so I knew I had to start very fast and stay in the bunch. And yeah, and the climbs, not so many riders dropped, so yeah, that would be I think it would be a sprint finish with 10 or 15 riders, I think.
Wel gedaan, Hans. Heel goed vanavond. Incredible to see you race, and now you can basically call yourself a virtual Absa Cape Epic champion. How cool is that?
Yeah, I'm so happy. It's super great to do this period. It's super crazy with the races, and it's very unsure. And I have this victory under my belt, so I'm super happy with that.
I reckon you're in the colours of buff. I reckon all the Spanish riders are going crazy in support of you right now, and super stoked that you took the win.
Yeah, this is also super happy for me because this is new for me, the team, and yeah, it's a victory. So at the moment I'm super happy, and shows I have the confidence in the team, and the team have confidence in me, and yeah, now we're ready set to go for a good season, I hope.
Well, I presume Bart Brenchens and all the other guys are currently on Wikipedia right now and writing in your palmares, champion of the Virtual Cape Epic 2021. Look at you go. Thank you so much, Hans Becking. Great riding today, great riding this evening, and clearly the preparation worked. You know, it's real simple. The only way to win in the virtual world is start hard and finish harder.
It's easy as that, huh?
As we move back to our women's race, and Germany's Elisabeth Brandauer moving to the front again. She doesn't want to be in that bunch when it comes to the finish line. And under the red flag, 1 kilometer to go. Flamme Rouge for Elisabeth Brandauer. She doesn't want a sprint finish. She wants to be out there on her own. And she's pulling away very, very nicely from Caroline Boer.
270 meters remaining. But it looks like Brandau has something left to open up the gap to Boer. 200 meters is the gap, and it doesn't look like Colin will get back on terms. Likewise with Hill as well, but Brandau, the German rider, has got a rider just coming into her sights. What has Boer got left in the tank? She has something to chase, and as the finish line gets closer, it was a clear winner there. Brandau takes the victory there with Danish rider Boer in second.
Elisabeth, I don't know, something you said worked. Hallo Elisabeth, guten Abend.
Yeah, Elisabeth, congratulations. I'm so glad we've been able to catch you just at the end of the show there, and that we were able to speak to you. Congratulations on your Virtual Absa Cape Epic victory. How was that?
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a little bit surprising. I didn't know the track, and in the last kilometers I always thinking pushing, and then it was 2Ks and there was nothing uphill anymore, so I'm fighting till the end. I didn't, in the beginning I don't thought that I may be so strong today, but yeah, it's another week and I'm at home, so it's a good evening ride.
Certainly is. Tremendous ride. I mean, you really left the rest of the riders behind. Who were the riders you were watching out for today?
I was did it as training, and I'm trying the first time to race on Zwift with the mountain biking, and it's good to see how it's working, and it much makes fun as mountain biker to ride there, and it was much more easier than training alone. So racing is always have fun.
What a great race, and great that we get to speak to both our champions. And Elizabeth, I'm going to say this to you because I don't know how often you'll get to hear it, but you are the 2021 Virtual Absa Cape Epic champion. Here we are in beautiful South America in the Mayan jungle, and that is actually where South America is where Kevin Vermaak dreamt up creating the Absa Cape Epic. The Absa Cape Epic's become a global phenomenon and has actually spawned the Epic series. We want to show you where mountain biking can take you around the world. Check this out, the Epic series. We're going to say goodbye from the virtual world now, and we cannot wait to see you all here in the magnificent Western Cape on the southern tip of this incredible continent, Africa, for the 17th edition in October of the untamed African mountain bike race, the Absa Cape Epic.
And the champagne